What is happening now in Gaza, it is a harrowing experience. 10 minutes ago, Hamas Kornet missiles, they destroyed Israeli tanks and US Delta forces entering into Gaza. This is becoming a nightmare for these forces, Israeli and also for the US forces. What is happening at the moment, as I said, is a harrowing experience for both of them. They're facing huge casualties, they're taking the toll from the forces coming from Gaza, Hamas, and also now looks like they're involved with Hezbollah, as we know that US targeted Hezbollah assets in Iran. And now there is this new development where it said basically that Iran has sent a fighter jet, not one fighter jet, but looks like multiple fighter jets into Israel. Why I'm saying this is because of this new report that shows that a fighter aircraft was entering into Gaza and people were running for shelter, and there was a air raid siren went off. So let's take a look at this one. As you can see here, air raid sirens went off the area of the Red Sea city of Eilat or Lanat of Allah on Tuesday, and Israel's military said it downed an approaching aerial target, quote unquote aerial target. According to the expert, this aerial target, it is actually an aircraft, Iranian fighter jets entering into Gaza. This is what is happening at the moment after an initial warning of a possible hostile, quote unquote, hostile aircraft intrusion, which sent residents of the popular tourist resort running for shelter. The military said its systems, quote unquote, systems identified an aerial target approaching Israeli territory. Now, take a look at this next report. It basically is suggesting that Israel, the IDF Zionist forces, they are terrified seeing all these tanks coming into Gaza and coming under tremendous fire from the group Hamas and also from Hezbollah, and they have actually shared some of those pictures. So this happened on October 29th. Israel signaled intent to encircle Gaza's main city on Sunday, publishing pictures of battle tanks on the Palestinian enclave's western coast 48 hours after ordering expanded ground intrusions across its eastern border. This news is absolutely false. The way they're trying to write the narrative of this whole war, it is absolutely bogus, based on no evidence, no proof. Because if you go and scroll this article a little bit more, I want to show you here, you really don't see much picture, do you? There are some pictures from the rubble of the Gazan, the city of Gaza, and that's it. I mean, there is no proof, there is no evidence. I mean, they can post random pictures saying that, Israeli tanks, they entered into Gaza, but there is, again, no solid proof. What is happening right now? Obviously, this war is a war of loss, complete defeat for Israel from the very beginning. As we know, October 7th, Hamas entered into Israel and Israel had no clue. That was the biggest intelligence failure I would say, since Israel was created, the Zionist state was created. Obviously, the Israeli intelligence chief and the military chief, they are now blaming Netanyahu. They said, we warned Netanyahu about this attack coming from Hamas, but he did not pay attention. What he was doing instead, he was focusing on normalizing his ties, Israeli ties with Saudi Arabia, and Hamas took full advantage of that and they ambushed. But obviously, as we have said in this channel all the time, we do not promote violence. We are not with those terrorist organizations that are killing innocent people. This is what is happening. Now, let's take a look at this report, because I want to play this man. He is a U.S. Army general, and he has some word to say. Take a listen.
Relations between Israel and the Arab world at the expense of Palestinian statehood. The conditions that were created within the Abraham's Accord about Palestinian statehood meant that there was never going to be a Palestinian state.
Yep.
And as Israel
that is so
affiliation with Saudi Arabia, I think Hamas recognized that if that happened, there would never be a Palestinian state ever, that
Yep.
Israel wins.
Yep.
So what needed to be done was to initiate a military operation on the scope and scale of which it changed the entire paradigm in the Middle East. And this is what happened. But it's not just about the embarrassment that they inflicted on Israel on October 7th. It's what they want to happen next. Let's be clear. The Israeli crimes against Gaza were predictable, meaning we know what Israel's policy is regarding collective punishment. They've actually put it in writing, the Dahiwa policy, mowing the grass. Since 2006, it's been officially stated as the policy of the Israeli Defense Force. So everybody knew what Israel was going to do. You just needed to create the conditions that had Israel doing what it wanted to do on a massive scale. And so the Hamas attack was designed to humiliate Israel, Israel, and then compel Israel to do something big.
And they are being very much successful in all of this. Hamas is successful because think about this. Israel is doing exactly what Hamas wanted them to do, which is to come inside Gaza or try to wage this massive scale of war. Both happened. What is also happening is that this effort by Israeli Zionists to annihilate the people of Gaza is actually backfiring big time, because the narrative now, subhanallah, it is working for the Muslims. There are like 500,000 people coming out in London. Don't take this as not so significant. It is. Therefore, the narrative is being changed, and people all across the world, especially in the Muslim world, we have seen also in non-Muslim country, for example, in Russia, Dagestan, I think is this name, or Dagestan, where Habib is from, that airport was stormed by more than 100 people. They were looking for Israeli travelers and wanted them to be attacked, to be mobbed. If you take a look at Muslim world, in Turkey, for example, or in Qatar, or in Kuwait, or even in Saudi Arabia, I think, people are now destroying all of the Israeli brands, for example, McDonald's, Starbucks, and all of these brands. They're destroying the shops. What I would suggest you and to myself is to avoid never buy those products, those Israeli products. Try to find out any product made in Israel. Do not consume that. We need to sanction. There should be an economic sanction by you and me, people like you and me, just normal people, on these Israeli products. This is the least we can do. But again, this whole thing is working for Hamas, as this person is indicating, and they wanted exactly what is happening right now. Nothing is going outside of the plan, and Iran is now taking full advantage of the situation, trying to destroy Israel once and for all. Let's take a listen a little bit more.
Something small, not something medium, something big. And Israel has done that. And what they're doing right now is the indiscriminate bombing of Gaza, collective punishment of the Palestinian people. And the reason Hamas wanted this to happen, I'm being a little cynical here, but it had to happen. Just like in order for Martin Luther King to succeed in the civil rights movement in the South, he needed to be beaten by white police officers. He needed to be arrested. Atrocities needed to occur to shock the American public into saying something's wrong here. And so what Hamas did is humiliate Israel, and then Israel did what Hamas knew they were going to do: respond massively, collectively punishing the Palestinian people.
Now they have to find and they have to fight this new war. Unbelievable. Israel is losing big time. We do not know the outcome of it, but it is not looking good for Israel whatsoever.